7 different players with pliers, and ooh, there goes. What are we doing? Is it gonna catch on fire? Pow, pow, pow. Oh, it doesn't like that. Oh no. All right, doing a little experiment here. We'll see how this plays out. Definitely not the ideal geometry for this experiment, nor material, as this is the crappiest material I've ever printed with. It was like $22 for 2 spools of this quote-unquote silk black PLA, and usually the print quality is horrible, the stringing is horrible, the spider webbing is horrible, and it's often very spongy output. But I wanted this in black. This is a spice rack that I'm going to stick to the side of my microwave to get my spices off my countertop. So what's the experiment? The experiment is to use the print head as a plow to remove the part from the bed. Now, if you have super strong bed adhesion, this is going to break stuff, so don't do it. And also, this radius, this giant radius on the underside of this is problematic for this because it could potentially push the print down into the bed rather than sideways. But what the plan is when the print's done, I've modified the G-code to, after the print's done, to raise up 5 millimeters, the Z direction, go to the rear center of the bed, and then go down to 1 layer high, and then just plow right through to the front and knock the print off. Now, this print bed notoriously barely adheres, which is fine because it usually does just fine, except when it doesn't. But with big round curves, which is why I shaped this shelf this way. Let's see. So you can see, because they're big curves, that tends to not lift. Like if it was a rectangle with square corners, those square corners would lift like crazy probably. Probably helps that this is mesh cutout rather than a solid panel. Like a solid panel with square corners with any thickness to it, you know, a layer or two, it'll print fine. But more than that, the corners will start to rise up. And so if you make things with rounded corners. All right, so meanwhile, back at the ranch, we can see here, if I enable travel, that my last move, so like, you know, you can roll up and down the layers, right? So it thinks this is all the last layer. But so if I go to the beginning of the last layer, it's going to print that, it's going to print that, then it's going to go up, and then it's going to go to the back, and then it's going to go down, and then it's going to the front. And theoretically, it won't break stuff. I suspect that the part will probably break. I also am considering, and I'll probably do it, is making an additional piece that I stick on here, probably with double-sided tape, basically make a plow that will contact the print, you know, 1 layer up basically. That could be tricky to get it to align, but it should be. I should be able to just home the Z-axis to 0 and then just slide the thing right on there, all right, and stick it on there, and then it should be fine. Yeah, the more I think about that, the easier it may be, and the more effective it may be. So like I say, this one might be problematic because I did not. Now, this thing is only 1.25 inches tall, and I'm looking at this curve, and it looks like more than 1.25 inches radius. So technically, as I mentioned, I may be pushing down also, not just, you know, even if the print head is moving horizontally across the y-axis, but because it's going to contact at a slope point, then some of the force directed into the part will be in the x-axis direction, but unfortunately some of it will be down in the z-axis direction. But my plan is that, and I was thinking that this thing would be taller than the curve here, but it should be high enough toward the top of the curve that most of the force is in the y direction. Funny aside, look how much this print bed is moving up and down, that's an obvious result of the print bed being quite slanted. I mean, that looks like it's going up and down like multiple millimeters. Actually, I can go into somewhere on the no, somewhere on this interface it will show you the maybe it's maybe I have to go into this web address with my browser. Let me try that really quickly. So I go and what IP address are we at? 16. So I'm here we go. Alright, so this is the, like, if you, it's basically using the same IP address to sort of, basically to connect to very similar interface. So this is the slicer, right? And this is just going to the same IP address from your browser. Now, they're both made by Creality, therefore they look very similar. But what I want to see is, yeah, this, holy cannoli, look at how slanted this bed mesh is. How many, so, I'm confused. Alright, yeah, so 2 millimeters. Is that what I said? 2 millimeters? It appears to be. Appears to be 2 millimeters up and down. But, so it's pretty neat that the printer compensates for that, though. I did a video like a year or so ago on leveling, true leveling the bed on one of these. I think that was on my K1 Max, though. And I recently had a crash or a failure, like the print came off the bed on the K1. This is the K1. K1 Max sits next to it in my shop. But I somewhat recently, weeks ago, large print came off the bed while I was printing. I wasn't home, and basically made a big mess. And I ended up having to recalibrate the bed leveling. So I imagine one of the 3 lead screws jumped a tooth, something like that. Because it's so crooked now. But I recalibrated it, and now it prints fine. I may want to fix this, because on a precision part, this can be significantly problematic, because what it does, and I think it does it over like 10 layers by default, and you can set it to how many layers. But it'll basically, knowing that the left end of the bed is higher or lower, the left end of the bed is 2 millimeters lower than the right end of the bed, then it's going to, in the first 10 layers or the first 10 millimeters or something like that, so the first layer it's going to print parallel with the bed. The 10th layer it's going to print parallel with the XY travel guides, right? And in the layers 2 through 9 in between, or something there like that, it'll gradually go from closer to parallel to the bed to closer to parallel to the guide rods. And so the first 10 layers or the first 10 millimeters or however you adjust that in your G code, which you can do, then it will compensate for that. Now, if you're trying to make let's say you're trying to make a rectangular brick, it's going to be slanted by 2 millimeters over the length of 8 inches. All right, I like to mix my metaphors and my units. So a quarter inch to a foot was like 2 degrees, I think. So that's like a standard drainage rule of thumb. So anyway, I'm not going to do that math. I'm not going to torture myself or yourself with me trying to do math live. But anyway, so meanwhile, back at the ranch again, how do we accomplish? It's very simple, in fact, to get this final movement to plow the part off the bed. I don't know, it's like 6 G-code lines. But what I did, I didn't want to mess with the G-code for this file and then try it and print the whole thing, and then the eject or the plow function doesn't work. So first what I did was just to, so if I go back to my text file here, hope this is recording okay. Where's my text file? Alright, so go back to my, splice shelf here. This is what I added. But what I did first is I made a copy of this file and I called it plow code test, right? And I deleted, so I did a control F. Well, let me summarize first. So basically I wanted to delete all of the functional, all of the meat and potatoes of the G code. So what I mean is at the beginning of the G code, it's got all this stuff. I don't know. I think that makes like the thumbnail. Yeah, thumbnail block start. So like this code is what shows the G code. I'm sorry. This code is what shows the thumbnail on the display of the printer. All right, and then there's other stuff. So it goes through that, and then executable block start. So there's all this stuff at the beginning of the code. So I knew I wanted to leave all that, and then at some point you find where the first layer of actual printing is, and that's going to be like I can do a control F for, I just know from doing this a few times, Z colon, and that'll bring you to basically the first layer, right? And so basically what I did here is I said, okay. Oh, and I already did it. So I went through. Let me go back to the real file. So if I go to the beginning, I go find Z colon. That's not what I did. I go find Z colon. Right, and so it's bringing right here, and Z 0.2, and it's remmed out, but this is showing you where it's going, and then the actual G1 Z.4. That's just because it jumps up by a layer or by 0.2 millimeters, and then it goes to its starting point, which is X42 blah 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 Y70, and then it's going to go Z.2, which puts the nozzle 0.2 millimeters over the bed and starts printing the first layer. So I know that this basically this is the start of the actual printing. Everything before this is just setup. Okay, so I want to delete starting here, but I did something like this from like here just to make sure. And then the trickier part is to find the end where you add this code. And the code's very simple. I'll show you. The code, I mean, that's other stuff, but it's basically this. That's all the code is, and I'll put it in the comments so you can copy it. So, like I say, the tricky part is to find the end exactly. And so what I did is, like I say, so I took this, I made a copy called plow code test, and then I deleted a bunch of it. The reason I'm telling it the way I am is because the first time it didn't work. So, like, I went down to what I figured was the end, but there's a lot of gobbledygook at the end. And so it's tough to know for sure. These files are so freaking long. And Notepad, it's goofy the way it does that. All right, so now I look like I'm at the end. But I don't want to accidentally go too soon, right? Because then it wouldn't finish the print properly. It wouldn't be too big of a deal. But anyway, so I made sure that I went after the end. And so I went like this, and then I deleted, and then I pasted in. I'm going to undo that, obviously, because I don't want to ruin my file. And then I pasted in the other stuff. But I'm going to go undo that. So that put all the stuff back. So anyway, I guess I either deleted too much or there was a problem with my syntax. I don't think there was a problem with my syntax unless there's a 0 required before the decimal, which I don't think so, or y. I had y as 0, and maybe it doesn't like to go to actual 0. Maybe it has to be like 0.001 or something. But so I just changed it to y1, which is 1 millimeter away. That's where it ends, right? So it comes plowing toward the front, basically from y220 or whatever it is. What I said y210 because I think it's 220. I think the bed dimensions are like 220 by 220, but just to be on the safe side, I said 210, and so it's going to plow from y210, from x110, which is midpoint on the plate on the print bed. How much time is there left in this? I thought I was going to have too much time and wouldn't see it, but as usual, I can just talk incessantly. So we have 8 minutes and 40 seconds left before the fireworks begin. So we'll see if I can annoyingly keep talking. But anyway, so meanwhile, back at the G-code file. So ultimately, I just add this so I can find it later if I need to, or I can identify if I modified something. But like I say, so this is all the code is. So basically, these 3 lines. So I want it to, when it finishes printing, I don't want it to just go in a direction. Because I don't want it to catch on the print. So just on the safe side, I have it go up by 5 millimeters. But the problem is all this G code here, like all the stuff, like thousands of lines or whatever it is. These are primarily absolute coordinates on the XYZ coordinate system. Meaning, if I say 5, if I go, 5, 5, 5, or if I go G1. X5, Y5, Z5. No matter where it is in the space, the print head is going to go to X5, Z5, X5, Y5, Z5, right? Whereas what I do here is I change it to relative movement. So this way, when I plug this into any given G code, I don't have to look up, say, okay, what? And I could do that, but it's just this more automates it. Go in and say, okay, oops. Let's say the end was here, and I would just look for my last Z, and then adjust the number myself. But instead, I change it to relative movement. With G91, all it does is change it to relative movement. So after the end of the print, it's going to go, because I'm going to paste this, I'm going to paste this into the end of my G code, right? And so I'm going to change to relative movement, and then Z5 is going to go up the Z axis by 5, not go to Z height 5. Like if I forgot to include this, then yikes, if I forgot to do this, it would plunge straight into my print, right into my part, and down to 5 millimeters off the bed. So that would be disastrous. And yeah, disastrous, not disastrous, right? Anyway, that would be very bad. So, but because I go relative movement, it's going to go up. And then I'm just right here, I'm going G90 sets it back to absolute movement. So that way when I say, so I set the Z height relative, I go up by 5, and then I go back to absolute, and then I set my X and Y by absolute dimensions. Like if I didn't put this line, then from wherever the print ended, it would go to the right another 110, and then to the rear another 210. So it would crash into the frame. But I believe the slicer software, no, because I'm modifying it after the slicer software. Well, because depends how I do it. If I just put it on the thumb drive and walked out there, which is 99% of my prints I've done that way. I just started using the network thing. I didn't really care too much about it, but it is convenient, so I've been doing it. And which inspired me to do this thing with the crashing into, plowing off the plowing to clear the print bed, because the nice thing now is when a print's done, I can have it plow it off, and that's not going to work on every print. It's going to be dependent on the geometry of the print and how confident that I am that it'd be able to pop the thing off without breaking stuff, whether the part and or the printer. I tend to be pretty good at breaking 3D printers somehow. Anyway, they like to be broken. So back in text. So yeah, so I set it back to absolute. It's going to go to x110, y210, which is in the center of the rear of the print bed, and meanwhile it's still at the z height plus 5, right? But then I go to z. So first it goes to the rear center, way up high, and then this one says G1, which is a move code. Z0.2, which is 1 layer high, just off the print bed, and then go back to Y1. So what I did is this is the interesting thing is I can. So if I go back to preview, and then I go back to here, and then I guess I'll open this folder. And so then if how much time do I have left? 3 minutes left. All right. So then if I go like this, and I go to my G-code archives folder, and I have my plow code test, and I drag and drop this in there. So this was how I tested it. So like I say, I grabbed the first maybe 10 lines into the G-code of the actual G-code thing. Let me turn off travel. So these are actual print lines that were the first line in the Spice Rack print and the last line in the Spice Rack print are what I deleted everything else in between. So it's kind of funny that it works that way. And it says it's 2 layers high, but it's 31 millimeters. Yeah, so that is about 1.25 inches. That's what I said. I should know. I designed it earlier today. So there's that. But if you click over here and you click on travel, now you can see they're super faint lines, but you can see these blue lines. And so now if I do this, oops. Yeah, so with my arrows, I can do the travel. So now I watch the blue line. So it's gonna I'm confused. Where's the other line? Okay. What? Oh, this was just for the test. So this is why I'm confused, because it's actually did the plow and then this line. So I messed this file up, but at least I could see that it's doing what I want. And so I verified with the test print with the test preview, just to show me that it looked like it was going to do the right thing. And then I just bring this guy in, and so this is the actual file. And so on this one, you can see I did it the right way. So if I back off here, that's my last moves. All right, and so that's how it's supposed to work. And so how much time do we have left? A minute? 30 seconds remaining. All right, what are we going to do? Can I make this bigger? I can do it this way. Drum roll. Somebody give me a drum roll. What's going on? All right, let's. What do we got? What do we got? 3, 2, 1. What's it gonna do? Is it gonna break everything? It's I thought it said it was done. I mean, it's just about done. This is definitely the last moves. Top of the print. Is it gonna work? Is it gonna catch on fire? What's it gonna do? Let's go. Didn't it just say? Because I moved this so I can't see the timer anymore because I stretched the window to make it bigger. Is it going? Is it going? What's it gonna do? Okay, maybe I had a minute and 4 seconds. I caught it as I was moving it off the screen. I could move it back on the screen, but I don't want to miss the show here because it's obviously about to go. Right? I mean, I can move it this way a little bit. Maybe I can see it. I can't see it. I can see the time remaining. I can't slide the... Well, what's it going to do? Let's see. Like I say, this is the crappiest material I've ever printed with. And it's funny because I bought 2 spools of it, and I was like, wow, this is the crappiest crap a crappy filament producer ever crapped. And I got it 2 for like $22. And then I used it all up, and I bought 2 more. Because it's so cheap. Like, for test prints, that I don't care that they come out like crap, then it's fine. Or for stuff that I don't mind if it comes out like crap. At least it's black and it looks decent. So just for for a little stupid, like let's say if I wanted to make a pencil holder or something, which I say that ironically because I made an entire desk organizer shelf with like 1,000 items in it, literally pencils, pens, scissors, screwdrivers, knives, you name it, plier, like 7 different pairs of pliers, and there goes. What are we doing? Is it gonna catch on fire? Pow, pow, pow. Oh, it doesn't like that. Oh no. Oh, it got it. Oh man, I'm gonna have to recalibrate my printer now. It didn't like that at all. Holy cannoli. Alright, well, there you see we have it.